Let's talk about the rise of emotional manipulation disguised as dark femininity.
Ladies, here are some tips for making any guy
high-key obsessed over you.
Being nice doesn't make him
crave you.
Men fall in love with women's absence.
Worshipping the ground you walk on
Can make a man miss you.
Be obsessed over you.
and chase after you.
they obsess over you.
absolutely obsessed with you.
Basically, people have taken all of the manipulation tactics from pickup artistry and decided to rebrand and repackage it as a new kind of feminism. It encourages women to use the same manipulative tactics that have been historically weaponized against them and says, hey, let's just reverse Uno card this. What could go wrong? This whole movement of dark psychology and dark femininity exploits cis women's wounds. It offers women the promise of reclaiming their power, of protection, and taking control of their dating lives, when in reality, it's just a bunch of toxic techniques in a trench coat.
So a really easy mental trick to get someone to do what you want is by slipping a command into a question.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but go confirm a date with the wrong guy. Literally text him, see you at 7, and then say sorry, wrong person, and go silent.
Manipulation number 2, let him hunt. That means don't initiate conversations, don't text him. He should be the one doing that.
If you want men to give you everything you want, you have to manipulate them.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but next time you feel like being a little bit toxic, just text him here and go silent after that.
As a woman, you need to learn how to flip the script and make everything that man's fault. Even, it don't matter what you do, you need to be able to flip it back on him.
And look, I get the appeal. Dating is confusing, and it's hard, and it's terrifying. It'd be amazing if there were a blanket set of rules we could follow that would ensure we wouldn't get hurt or played. Like, it's easy to hear, men don't respond to words. They respond to no contact. And use that as an excuse to shy away from the vulnerability it takes to communicate honestly. It's easy to learn about intermittent reinforcement and switch from available to intentionally withholding to gamify someone's dopamine system, instead of genuinely showing up to build trust and connection. But the most ironic part of this movement is that it's telling women to be emotionally unavailable, to play mind games, and to always conceal your intentions. And that all of these behaviors will lead to love. What? It won't. I mean, how could it? Most of the advice also seems to be sort of like repackaged and distorted lessons from The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, a cult classic that outlined Machiavellian tactics that are so effective, this book has been banned in several US prisons.
There are 2 laws. One of them is make others come to you, and the second law is use absence to create honor and respect. One of the laws is, I think, the most important, basically make people dependent on you. They need you and they can't get rid of you. So you need to make sure that your position in a company, in life in general, you're the only person who can do that.
Law 20. Do not commit to anyone. If you allow people to feel they possess you to any degree, you lose all power over them. Give them hope, but never satisfaction. By not committing your affections, they will only try harder to win you over. Encourage the attention, stimulate their interest, but do not commit at any cost. Desire is like a virus.
Now, if there is one silver lining to dark psychology, I think it's the awareness, right? If you're familiar with these emotional manipulation tactics, you can defend yourself against them because you can spot them, but don't perpetrate them. You know, I think one of the most fascinating people to offer this kind of awareness is Kanika Batra Matheson, a self-proclaimed diagnosed sociopath who wants to clue you in on the potential weapons being used against you.
I'm a diagnosed sociopath, and these are the 4 stages of narcissistic abuse. Love bombing, of course, is the beginning of it all. You're going to be idealized by this person. They don't know who you are. They're going to project what they want onto you. And you will feel like the center of the universe. You'll get calls, texts, you'll get showered with gifts. Just until you fall short. Once you become a real person and not their fantasy, you're going to become very devalued. All of that attention is just going to be snatched from you real quick. You're going to wonder what you did wrong. And let me tell you, you did nothing wrong. You'll get less and less communication, and then before you know it, you're discarded. Don't think you're ever going to get closure, by the way. That's a narc's favorite form of control over you. Then, if they lose narcissistic supply elsewhere, they'll come back to you. They'll give you little bits of attention that you'll be begging for. They'll try to bring you back into their life with the original love bombing. Be vigilant. They're doing it for themselves, not for you.
And look, I have no doubt that some of the people creating this kind of content ultimately have good intentions. There are messages encouraging women to center themselves, to not drop all of their priorities and restructure their life for a man they've just met, and to heal their own attachment wounds so they can show up as their most secure, confident selves. But I think for the most part, the dark psychology and dark feminine movement really gets it wrong. There's a great article by Camille Sajet-Pejcha who articulated the exact conundrum. The problem here lies not in the art of the tease, but in the fact that the people turning to TikTok for dating advice are likely in the same demographic as those who desperately want to experience real love, and instead are perpetuating the same cycle of emotional toxicity that made them so afraid to be vulnerable in the first place. It's a pitfall people fall into again and again. The idea being that empowerment involves appropriating the techniques by which you yourself were oppressed, which ironically tends to perpetuate the status quo. And that's the biggest con of dark psychology, right? Its tactics create the result it claims to solve. All of this advice, right? Like all these emotional manipulation tactics are great if you want to find someone who's insecure and avoidant and values the chase more than they do a genuine, profound connection with you. But if you want real love, if you want to experience true intimacy, I don't think you can build that on a lie or a game. You can't form real trust when you are behind a wall pulling the strings the entire time. How can true love develop when you're mentally playing chess with someone's feelings? Love requires bravery. It demands that we show up, that we show our soft underbelly and hope that we don't get stabbed. And if we do, it requires us to dust ourselves off and go back onto the battlefield. Love demands courage, honesty, patience, and compassion. It's about not letting your emotional wounds harden into scar tissue, but to keep softening again and again, with the trust that there is someone out there who can hold your heart with the same gentleness that you'll hold theirs. Oh. I'm just gonna wait an hour to text back to this, but it's because I'm busy. I'm Akana. Thank you to the patrons who supported today's video, and thank you to my daddy, Squarespace, for sponsoring today's video. If you guys are not familiar with my dad yet, I don't know where you've been, but Squarespace is an all-in-one platform to build a gorgeous website, sell your products, and engage with your audience. If you're like me and you don't know anything about how to code, Squarespace is perfect. They have beautiful and professional website templates that you can have as a starting point, and then customize to your specific brand and aesthetic. It looks so sophisticated, but on the back end, it's drag and drop, and very easy and intuitive to build, and even easier to keep updated. You can also create an online store and sell custom merch. So for me, that's my online guidebook about how I do my inner work and accomplish my goals, but for you, that may look like physical products, services, or classes. Whatever it is, the creator economy is booming, baby, and we're all here to have a livelihood doing what we're passionate about. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial. And whenever you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Anna and use code Anna for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.